For many of you out there, might be your first time you've ever heard of him. It might be the first time. There's the clue. It's a he, and not only that, it's also the first time. If you're around, you might have seen him at the event We Are Wrexham. You might have seen him at Voicebox and various other events. I think there's the spoken word at Saif Seren, or all around. Or if possibly you went to the Wrexham Open awards day, you were there. The chap was there too. Now, I'm just going to introduce you. I've given you a long sort of introduction there.
Right.
Right. So, David, tell me more about yourself.
Well, my name is David Subacchi.
Okay, which is, I must admit, I was worried about getting the surname wrong because is it Subacchi, Subacchi? It's Subacchi. There we go.
It's Subacchi. It's Italian. I was born in Wales, in Aberystwyth, but to Italian parents, and hence the name Subacchi. So Welsh by birth and Italian by blood.
Fantastic. So you're a poet, which I've obviously given the game away. I think the first time I saw you was about 2-3 years ago at Voicebox.
Yeah.
And then I've seen you at other events. Some of the ones to me which to mind was when you gave a poem for the Wrexham Open exhibition, yes. the artist, the first day at Indegin. You gave a poem for maybe 20 or 30 of the pieces out there.
Yes.
And it wasn't just... It was. I found it a great moment that you put the effort into that, because you are a very prolific poet as it is. But also, I was able to see some of the faces of some of the artists, which you didn't know at the time, and see them smile and beam and thinking somebody's wrote something about my piece. So I mean, to me. Before you even go into the idea of poetry, there is you're very sincere of a person, and I think you're an incredible talent, which is the reason why you're Artist of the Week. But tell us more about, if there was going to be a Wikipedia page about you, what would be the best way to describe of what you are, what you do, and so on?
Well, I'm a poet, and principally a poet. I sing, I play the guitar and the piano as well. I sometimes write short stories, but most of the time I'm a poet. That is what I really enjoy doing. So I enjoy the process of writing poetry, and I enjoy reading it to an audience whenever I get the chance to do that. And I also have collections published which people can buy.
Right. I mean, I would like to... Shall we start with something which is right at the beginning?
Okay.
I mean, you obviously do... how many poems do you write a week or a month? Because you certainly have... you're very prolific. Every single one gems.
Well, thank you. I write a poem most days, and on some days I write more than one poem. And then there are days when you don't write anything, and all writers will know about that. That's me. I like writing, and so I write a lot. Someone once said to me, how do you expect to write anything good if you don't write a lot?
Right. It's the 10,000 hours thing, the idea you have to practice. You're perfecting your craft.
For me, writing is, of course, partly you have to have the talent to write and the interest, but there's a lot of hard work in it as well. And the more you write, the easier it gets.
There's so many ways I want to say, but first of all, I'd like to talk more about that and maybe your writing process to give tips.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been asked by Voicebox, they've been, Tim and Pete's been saying, Wayne, it's about time. You come here almost every month.
Yes.
It's about time that you actually go up on stage and write a poem and perform it.
Yes.
So what will be the stages of what I should do if I were to write? First of all, the topic, does that have to be a topic, first of all, which has got to be close to your heart? Or is it just anything which gives you a thought process or what?
Not really. I once thought that. I remember going to a writing club in Chester, and a very experienced writer said to me, what makes you write? And I said, well, not many things. I have to get cross about something or be really emotionally moved to write.
Yeah.
And his reply was rubbish, which is not the reply I was expecting. And I said, what do you mean? He said, writing is like a lot of things. You have to practice it. Write something every day, even if it's only 2 lines or a paragraph. Just write and write and write. And then you find that you don't have to be totally emotionally moved by something to write. And I would say, if you're starting out writing poetry, 1, keep it short. 2, forget about rhyming altogether.
Okay.
Right? Nothing wrong with rhyming. I write poetry that rhymes and poetry that doesn't rhyme. But when you're starting, it can be an added burden. So keep it short. Have one thing to say in your poem, like I like Wrexham, or I don't like Wrexham, or,
Right, yeah.
or I like cars, or whatever. One thing to say, and say it in your short poem. And don't worry about anything else. Now, you might think, oh, well, that'll make a crummy little poem. But it won't. It won't.
Okay. I suppose the question I'd like to ask, is, what is the last poem that you wrote? Which, and tell me the story behind it.
Okay, well, I was in Cardiff yesterday in the rain. It was raining a lot of the time. And there in the middle of Cardiff in Queen Street, there is a large bronze statue to Aneurin Bevan, who was a member of the coalition government during World War II. And the statue has the wording underneath it, founder of the National Health Service. And Bevan was very much involved with founding the National Health Service. So I wrote this poem. It's only a short one. It's called Aneurin Bevan. There you are, up on a plinth in Cardiff's Queen Street, founder of the National Health Service. You look quite pleased with yourself. Sometimes bird muck drips from your head onto your bronze suit. But today it's raining, so you're nice and clean. Although, when I examine your face carefully, you seem to be crying.
Thanks very much. Right, you'll be back tomorrow, Tuesday, which is the 17th.
Yep.
So thanks very much, and I look forward to it.
Thank you.